We are Edge, and we're here to present the agency brief for Edge UK. This is my team. We have Sushant, Mael, Matuta, and Engin. And we as an agency, we specialize in developing and designing marketing communication strategies and campaigns for charities. And we're really excited to take on, as we mentioned previously, we were really excited to take on the brief of Edge UK because that's where our specialty lies in. So just to outline what the process of the entire presentation is going to be like, we're going to start with the situation analysis, move on to the strategic outline, the campaign outline, and then evaluation matrix and the budget. From the situation analysis, we chewed upon the brief and we did like a whole background research, putting all the tools together from ANSOF to SWOT to Keller, brand positioning, doing an entire overview of Edge UK. This is what our key takeaways from the situation analysis is. We realized that there's a growth in people wanting to donate. The target demographic that was given to us is driven by the feel-good factor. Edge UK is, to talk about the strength, it has a diverse network and reach across the UK that can be further leveraged. We feel that there's a rise in innovative digital mediums like virtual reality, donation tracking, which we will further detail it through the campaigns. There is an increased proliferation of social media. However, there is an increasing number of charities competing for share of the donor's wallet. There is a perception of volunteering as a tedious effort, which we aim to kind of target through our campaigns and get that across and kind of target debating public sentiment regarding utilization of donated funds. This is a brief overview of the target market insight. Sushant, do you want to go through that?
So for the target market insight, with the 25 to 34-year-olds, we found that because this is a demographic that's pre-family, they're not married yet, they don't have kids yet, they have a lot more time but not money on their hands, and they don't really understand how they're able to contribute, but they'd rather interact with a cause that's more unconventional and they can engage with. And with the older demographic of 35 to 44, they have more disposable income but are more pressed for time, and so they'd rather donate to a cause where they know exactly where their money is going and they can follow it.
This is the target market profile that we've drawn up, that we presented previously. We didn't really go through it, as Jackie mentioned, but this is just to give you a brief overview. There's Jennifer Lee, who's in the first age group, and then there's Stephen Smith in the second age group, and they have completely different opinions about approaching charities. This is what we think the key issue is when it comes to Edge UK. After analysis, we feel that Edge UK has a very dull and washed out image, which is something that does not necessarily have to appeal to the younger demographic, and we feel that this should be targeted, especially if you're looking at someone more young and fun and innovative and trendy. Familiarity and awareness is key. Apart from the partnerships that Edge UK has done previously, which was with John Lewis and Innocent, the brand does not really communicate and lay emphasis on what it does, which is really important for the younger demographic who support charity, whom they strongly believe in, and that is what should be emphasized through the campaigns. That's what we feel. These are the key strategies that we've laid out for each particular group. We want to increase the appeal of Edge UK to make it more relevant, to make it more upbeat, to kind of make it more relevant to the 25 to 34-year-old demographic, change the perception towards elderly and volunteering, because it's not really seen as something that they want to do. And when it comes to 35 to 44-year-old, it's more about changing the perception towards charity in general and encouraging them to donate. The positioning map, like we mentioned earlier, we said that Edge UK, when we compared it to competitors in the market, Edge UK was far better than the competitors, and we felt that it should look at kind of competing with the best of the best in the charity across the UK, and we've seen that Save the Children, WaterAid and Macmillan were one of the best, and we decided that Edge UK needs to move up and compete with them and benchmark themselves with the best of the best in the charity sector. Myra will take you through the objectives.
So our marketing objectives to raise awareness from 5% to 10% among the target audience by the end of the campaign. For our IMC objective, we want to raise an awareness about volunteering and event organized by Edge UK by 10%, to increase Edge UK current volunteer number by 5,000 by the end of the campaign, and to raise voluntary donation from the target population by £1.4 million. So here's the overview of our campaign. So basically we decide to separate into two target groups. For 25 to 34, we want to encourage them to become a volunteer. The message that we want to tell them is that being a volunteer is easier, it's fun. We want to change that perception about an old people, of being lonely, sad. We want to show another image of them, of being, they are fun, they have a lot of story to tell, and encourage them to want to engage with those elderly. So the slogan will be, your present is their only present, and for off-peak campaign it will be, you have the time, be different. For 35 to 44, we want to encourage those people to donate to our charity. For the key message, we want to say like, experience the joy of giving during the Christmas campaign. So we want to say for the slogan, give into the season of giving. And for the off-peak, we say give a little and help a lot. So our campaigns on peak will run from November to January, and for off-peak, it's going to be February to April.
So to briefly walk you through the campaigns. For the on-peak campaign for our 25 to 34 demographic, we're focusing on 3 media channels. The first is focusing on advertisements, where the overall objective will be to increase awareness of Age UK and highlight its activities. We feel that looking through all of the other competitors in the charity sector, what Age UK has not really been able to do with its social media channels is sort of highlights how their volunteers are interacting with the beneficiaries, the positive outcomes that comes from these interactions. So we want to create a series of ads that sort of highlights these activities, and our execution will be through out-of-home ads on buses and on trains, print ads with newspapers such as the Daily Mail and Metro, and we want to focus on YouTube advertising because broadcast rates are cheaper than traditional TV channels. We want to do social and digital media, where the objective will be to stimulate engagement and create a buzz around Age UK. Again, this is also tying back to the idea that the other competitors are a lot more engaging. They'll share photos of their volunteers, they'll share photos of fundraising efforts. And so the execution for this will be through infographics, social volunteer diaries, and we will also focus on SEO and SEM to increase the ranking of Age UK. And our third channel is PR. We have 2 activities for this. The first is we want to tie up with Costa Coffee and release a series of special edition cups that are Age UK branded. And this is going off of Costa's competitor idea, Starbucks, having festive Christmas cups. We believe that within this age demographic, Costa is a very strong brand, and because of Age UK's previous history of strong brand tie-ups with John Lewis and Innocent, we believe we can sort of also increase the overall appeal of Costa as a company that has good CSR. And the second PR campaign that we want to do is we want to have a boat installation on the River Thames and rivers of other major cities, where the idea would be it's an installation with a lonely grandmother on a rocking chair on top, and it's got statistics about depression. And the idea is that we want to put these in places where a lot of people are going to be going around with their friends, with their family during the Christmas time, to sort of highlight the fact that, you're all here having a nice time, but there's people out there that are still lonely, and this is sort of how we can help. And with our on-peak for the older demographic, the main thing that we want to do is highlight where the money is going that they're donating. So with our advertisements, we want to communicate how Age UK utilizes donations to build trust. Again, the channels are the same. We want to do tube ads and bus ads. In regards to print ads, we want to use the Observer and the Guardian because that is the newspaper that appeals more to the older demographic, and we also want to do YouTube advertising. We want to focus on direct mail because this demographic, having a lot more disposable income but not as much time, is more likely to donate. So we want to do door drops to them. We want to do digital and social media engagement, which is the same idea with the with the younger demographic, which is again to simulate buzz about the brand. And in regards to PR, we want to have Christmas centered events. The strength of Age UK is that it's got a very diverse network of a lot of local chapters. So we want to highlight the fact that an Age UK is not that far away for you to contribute your donations to. We want to have local Christmas events, so around Camden, around Notting Hill, where the 35 to 44 demographic can take them and their families, and it's sort of a family affair, but it's also, you know, it's for a good cause. And our off-peak campaigns, we want to focus again on driving awareness of the brand and highlighting activities. We have planned a digital billboard that has it's sort of a video feed of an elderly person that's sad, and the call to action is tweet to pledge. So you would see the sad person, you know, a simple £2 can change someone's life, and once they tweet to the board, their tweet will also come up and the face will lighten up. For promotional, we want to create a virtual reality installation where we're tying into the idea that old people have a lot of stories. They've got history with them. They've got great stories that they can share. So we want to create a visual medium where they can share these stories. On the Age UK social profiles, on their social media, there's a lot of pictures of John, the 70-year-old that used to be an army veteran, Jane, the nurse. So we want to create these videos where you're living a day in the life of Jane when she used to be a nurse. And it's sort of a timeline where you see Jane in the hospital in her 30s, back in the 60s, and then it sort of progresses where she gets older, her vision deteriorates, her hearing deteriorates, but then Age UK comes in, you see an Age UK volunteer, and then it's like the Age UK is bringing happiness back into their lives. And in terms of PR for our off-peak, we want to focus on having a Valentine's Day activity where in front of all of the Age UK shops across the country, we want to have the elderly handing out cookies. Now the idea is the cookies will have statistics about depression, and the way to earn a cookie is through a hug. And the whole concept of this activity is to say that, you know, it's not that hard to contribute. All you really need to do is give a hug, and you can help battle depression. For the older demographic, we are focusing still on the digital billboard, the same promotional activity, and the same PR. And the idea is that with both demographics, it's sort of, they will want to help, but because the younger demographic knows that they're pressed for cash, they'll want to donate in time, and the older demographic will want to donate in cash rather than in time.
And these are the examples of the advertising. The first one is the Christmas campaign for on-peak, target younger demographic like 25 to 34. So we would like to bring the emotional of fun and warm Christmas to attract this demographic. And another one is for off-peak campaign, like we would like to show the fun and excited story of the elderly to show that he lives like not just normal life, he has an exciting story. So you can like just visit our website to see more stories. And this one is what Sushan talked about for PR. This is the visual of cruise that will be flown on Thames River, and we will put the mock-up grandma or grandpa on the cruise and floating around the Thames River. And another one is the advertising to show a happy grandma cooking to attract the younger demographic to see that you can enjoy cooking with our grandma, to be a volunteer to cook with her, and to be fun to be our volunteer. And this one is virtual reality that linked to the fun story campaign that we're gonna put a pop-up store in a big city like London, Manchester, or Birmingham. So everyone can join our pop-up store and see the stories, fun and excited story of the elderly, to see that he lived so excited and to be a volunteer is not that boring. And another one is the direct mail. We would like to target the older demographic, 35 to 44. We would like to use like paint picture and the impact message to attract that emotional.
And this is our first consumer journey for the age 25 to 34. We want to change their perception towards the elderly and volunteering. And the first step, they're going to watch the ads on YouTube. Second, spot the advertisement and out-of-home media or visit the virtual reality pop-up. Third, search for information about Edge UK and how to become a volunteer, and hopefully, finally, becoming a volunteer for Edge UK. For older demographics, we want to also change their perception towards our charity to encourage them to donate. And our first step is spot the advertisement and out-of-home media. Second, join the Christmas event, receive direct mail. And third, search for information about Age UK and how to donate. And finally, donate for Age UK.
Just to take you through the KPIs that we've set out for the entire campaign, off-peak and on-peak. We're looking at engagement, so we're looking at garnering that kind of traction in terms of link clicks, profile visits, brand mentions, conversations that are generated around Age UK on social media and offline. The reach and influence will be tracked by the number of followers, the impressions, the click-through rate, bounce rate, and all those kind of analytics and metrics. Leads will be ultimately in terms of the number of donors and volunteers that have been acquired and have signed up to volunteer or donate for Age UK. This is how we're going to evaluate the campaign effectiveness across all these 4 stages when it comes to awareness, knowledge, conviction, and finally the action. We've listed down the activities, what the effect is going to be like, and what the response is going to be like from the target audience in terms of increasing awareness, understanding what the brand is all about, how the brand is trying to communicate and engage with that particular target audience, which will result in increased website visits, social media engagement, and finally volunteers and donors. This is something similar for the off-peak campaign as well, but over here we want to also kind of generate a generic understanding of what charities like Age UK do, and how they can forge an emotional connect with the younger demographic. So Shad will take you through the rest of the budget.
So for the budget, we calculated the PITA. With the population, we took the population for the given target demographic of 25 to 44, which is 17 million. The incidence rate we projected to be about 0.4%, and the amount of times that we predicted that they would donate throughout the series of the campaign would be 3 times, and an average donation of about £10. Given that, we projected our PITA to be 2 million, and with our budget of 1 million, the ROI would be 2. With the budget for the on-peak campaign, what we have is YouTube advertising and the rates for the different newspapers that we want to target. With the newspapers, we want to launch one insert per week for 2 weeks, and we also want to advertise one time in, time out. And with the out-of-home advertising, we wanted to have 3 weeks each for the tube and bus stops. And in terms of direct mail, we're getting our numbers through the Mosaic Lifestyle. We're targeting the 35 to 44 ABC1 demographic. And with our off-peak, it's the same ideas. Now the cost that's a bit different will be with the virtual reality installations. We have 3,000 for the production costs, and the rental space for barges on rivers will be £5,000. Media timeline. So November, December, January is the on-peak, and as you see, we want to start our campaign with the YouTube ads, the cost to tie up, and a press release and feature story. The prominent feature about our on-peak campaign will be the cost to tie up and a series of feature stories, as well as the Christmas events, whereas the brunt of our off-peak campaign will be focusing on the experiential VR, the digital outdoor, and the tube ads. And that's all.